the BigAl Podcast with your host, Al Bishop, unfiltered and uncut.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have the Zimbabwean national Themba Gorimbo with me. Welcome to the show, champ. I know you're busy in your fight camp getting ready for a big fight, so we appreciate the time. And thank you very much. Welcome to the show, man.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure, man. Cool. Let's just have a look at your fight quickly. You've got Dave Mazani coming up,
Yes.
which is a massive battle. Dave's obviously coming off a loss. He lost his belt to your teammate Don Madge.
Yeah.
How's the preparation going for all of this, man?
Our preparation has been going very good, and I've been training hard. I always do train hard, but yeah, I always go an extra mile when I'm in fight camp. So I've been training very, very, very hard. This is the hardest I've ever trained, I think, personally, for a fight.
Okay.
Because I know what's the threat in front of me, so I have to work a little bit extra hard.
Sure. And it's your first, Joe Still Cummings, that was your international that you fought, so it's not going to be your first international on the hit list, added to the voodoo list, like you say, eh?
Or... this is my second international guy. You know, I would like to fight more international guys, but for now, I look at Dave Mazani, and Joe Cummings was the past. So yeah, just add them.
Line them up.
Yeah.
From FFM, you get to spend a bit of time with the last man that beat Dave Mazani. Does that is there a bit of insight in there? Like, basically, your team has prepared for this guy before already. Is there almost, if we can say, like a blueprint, like they always talk about for Mayweather? Is there kind of a similar strategy that they'll give you to say, look, this is where you need to focus. This is how you need to come out on fight night?
Basically, Don he's been here now for, I think, a week. He's been in Cape Town. He had an injury and stuff. And me and Don, we fight differently. You know, he fights his way, I fight my way. And yeah, for me, I'm just gonna go in there and do what Themba does. And Don did very well. Maybe I'll take a page in that book, but I will fight the way Themba fights. You never copy somebody the way they fight. You never know which Dave Mazani pitches up on the night or what to work on, you know. So I will prepare according to my style of fighting. I don't prepare according to anybody else's style. So I'm preparing according to my style of fighting and perfecting things so that I'll become the winner on the night.
If we can look at a hypothetical situation, if you manage to get your win, obviously it's always tough to ask fighters because you'll see it as no other way but winning. So let's take it like that. After you beat Dave Mazani, where does that leave you in the lightweight division?
I'm not a lightweight. This is a catchweight fight.
Okay.
I'm fighting at 74. I fight waterweight. I used to fight at lightweight a long time ago. But, you know, you get older, you grow up, and your bones become heavier and stuff.
Sure.
So I decided to stay at waterweight. But if any lightweight wants to fight me, he has to meet me at 74. That's the Themba weight that I can go. That as far as I can go to 74.
Okay.
Here in South Africa. So I'm happy at 74 to fight anybody. After this fight, like I don't like to look past guys, you know. Like I've seen guys falling down by looking past guys. Like I always say, I try to focus on this guy, and until the 9th of September, I don't know what time it will be. Maybe 11 o'clock I'll be done with him. Then I can talk the future, but I always know that my future will be positive through hard work. So I don't look as my future will be negative. It will be positive.
Okay. The next thing I want to try and dive into is get a little bit of your story, how you ended up fighting out of possibly the biggest MMA camp on the African continent, if we can put it like that. You fly a Zimbabwe flag very high and very proudly when you fight. How did that all come about, and where did this MMA journey for you start?
Firstly, you know, like flying the Zimbabwean flag so high and stuff like that. Those are my roots. Zimbabwe is where I came from. I come from Zimbabwe, and without Zimbabwe, I wouldn't be where I am today. whether it's a bit like there's poverty and stuff like that. Without that poverty, I wouldn't be driven as I am to want to better my life, to want to better my family's life, to be a better person in life. So that's why I always fly the Zimbabwean flag so high whenever I can possible. And yeah, that's my motivation. I always try to work hard to inspire people that come from the same background as I, that with less opportunities and less whatever you have, you can actually work with what you have and become whatever you want to be. So that's my thing. Like that's what motivates me, and that's why I represent Zimbabwe wherever I can.
Okay, and just guide us through how you got to where you are now and where it all started on an MMA journey.
My MMA journey started in Cape Town, actually. I was 19 when I started MMA. So I used to work as a security guard for Pick and Pay when I was and with a security guard job, I was very, very skinny, tall, young guy. And with a job, you always want to be strong as a security guy, because you arrest somebody and they'll outpower you, and so that's where I started. And when I was working once, I started with a movie actually. So I was watching the movie, Never Back Down. I think it's played on ETV or
Sure.
something. I can't remember. I watched the movie Never Back Down, and after watching the movie, actually, then I knew, I had got an insight that actually fighting was a sport. Actually, I only knew boxing.
Sure.
And I realized, there's actually MMA as well. And then I was walking in Parklands in Cape Town. Then I saw a board with a mixed martial arts gym on it. It was Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Then I called the guys, and that's how I got into it. And they offered me free training sessions, and it was hard to train because I was working as a security guard. I was working 17 hours a day.
Sure.
The shop was closing at 11 o'clock, opens at 7 o'clock. I had to be at work at 6 o'clock. So I was working 17 hours every day. And yeah, it was tough. So I used to sell my shifts. It was hard even to sell my shifts, because I was one of the, as young as I was one of the very good security guards there.
Okay.
So the owner of the shop wanted me more often at the shop, but that was not like my thing, it was just a way to get by. So I was driven to be a better somebody in life. So I knew that security was not going to take me anywhere there. So I used to sell my shift. So I would work 3 days. My shift was 3 days in a row, then 1 day off, 3 days in a row, 1 day off. So on those 3 days, one day is 17 hours, the next day is 12 hours, then the following day 17 hours. So I would sell the other shift, the 12-hour shift. I would sell to my colleagues, the older guys that had family and stuff, they needed the money. So I said to them, work the shift for me. I'll give you, they'll pay you. Not you. I'll call the office and say to them, you guys, can you give this guy the shift? I can't work like this, And I'll train the day. So I'll work 1 day, train 1 day, work 1 day, train 1 day, because I always have a third day off. So it worked well for me, and I managed to go through the amateur ranks. I was training at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and Panther Cape Town. So I managed to go through the amateur ranks like that, but it was not easy. Then I had to leave the security job, because now I had to take it seriously. After 2 years, I had to take it seriously. Then I had to go to another hard job, but it was better because I was working 8 hours.
Okay.
So I could manage to train 8 hours.
Okay.
So I went on to work at a complex as a gardener, and I think those were my last 3 amateur fights. And I was working as a gardener and training. I could train every day without a problem, and train physically. I was strong because the gardening is actually another workout.
Yeah, sure. It's a labor-intensive job.
Yeah, so it was good that way, that I had to work in the gardening and I could train as well. So it was like 16 hours of continuous work on my body. So it was good. I enjoyed that part that part of my life, and it used to motivate me. I never, even when I was doing the gardening, I was not doing it to stay there. I was not comfortable doing it and staying there. I wanted to be better in my life, so I was working towards something, so I could train harder. I thought to myself I was training harder than the professional fighters. They are the professional fighters, and I was always motivated that there's so many other guys in the world that want to be professional. So I used to try to work harder than everybody else. I used to wake up 5 o'clock every day, go for a 20-kilometer run before I go to work, and gym before I go to work, and work after work. I don't take a taxi home. I used to work in Blauberg, and I was staying far in Parklands, deep in Parklands. So I used to run to work, but going to work, I used to run past work, go all the way to Melbourne and come back, and then go to work, and then manage to work, then going back home because I have to run back quickly to the gym and train. So I used to run back to the gym and train straight. I never used to take a taxi. Yeah, so that's how I started, and I used to put in more work than the professional fighters, and God bless me to be here where I am, and I want more.
Yeah, 100%. Geez, it's a hell of a story to get to where you are, man, and it makes a lot of sense, I guess, in the sense that you've been fighting for a long time, so these main events are just the easy part.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's still hard, man. It's even harder now that I'm in a position where some people want to beat me up, and they want to take my name. They want to take everything that I've worked for. They want to put me in the same position that I was before. So it's actually even harder now because the guys, I've got target. Guys want to take my name. Guys want to put me in the same position that I was before. So I'm more motivated to train harder now, and like with growing up, you've got more responsibilities, and it just makes you work even harder.
Okay. How did you get to Cape Town from Zimbabwe? Was that a natural process, or was it kind of just something that happened? Because I'm just trying to piece all the way till we get to FFM.
My journey from Zimbabwe, I came here to South Africa first time as a border jumper.
Okay.
I didn't have a passport. I came here when I was very young. I was 17 years old. I just finished high school. I finished high school when I was 16. Then I did the diamond digging in Zimbabwe. And after they closed the mines for us legal miners, I had to leave, and with the money that I had from the diamonds, I took it with me here to South Africa. And unfortunately, I got deported. My first try to come to South Africa, I got deported in Polokwane, and I got deported. I went back to Zimbabwe on the border. I was supposed to go back home.
Okay.
In Masvingo, but I didn't go all the way home. I stayed at the border, and I said to myself, I need to go back there. Then, because I already tested South Africa. My cousins lived in Cape Town, and it was a long journey to get to Cape Town. In Polokwane was a hotspot for police to raid Zimbabweans that didn't have passport. So I managed to cross the border that same day. I think they dropped me at the border, the police, around 3 o'clock. By 7 o'clock at night, I was already halfway coming to Johannesburg already again. I crossed the border again, and without the passport, and the following morning I was here in Johannesburg, and and lived a little bit on the streets because I didn't have money anymore, because it was 2 trips. took a lot of me, and I didn't have contacts anymore, because the numbers I had were taken by these people that raid people, like criminals that take people's things on the border. So they took all the contacts, the clothes that I had. So they took everything that I had to contact my cousins in Cape Town. So I stayed in Johannesburg here, and I was giving pamphlets on the robbers in town, actually. I was getting 20 rand a day. Sure. I think, and I think I managed to go Because it was not an easy job to get to get the 20 rand. It was not easy. One of the guys, I was staying at the Methodist church. One of the guys, they just hooked me up with a guy, and he was giving me $20, and I used to give pamphlet. So I'd work one day, the following day, not working. But $20 was enough to make me live. You know, I used to eat food at the Hillbrow orphanage. I think there was a place that you used to go around 5 o'clock every evening, and you go eat food there for free. And then go sleep at the Methodist church. You actually don't sleep, you sit. And if you, then I managed finally to memorize numbers back home for my aunt's place. Then I called back home. Then they gave, I had money. I called back home. Then they gave me the numbers for my cousins. Then I reconnected with my cousins. Then they sent me money. And I went to Cape Town.
Okay, so in Cape Town, you started your amateur career as an MMA fighter.
Yes.
How did that work out, your amateur career? What was your final stats as an amateur?
Amateur career was actually very funny, you know. I was not the, because I would understand, because I was not one of the hardest working guys in the beginning.
Sure.
So, like, my amateur career, I would win one fight, lose the next one. Win one fight, lose the next one. And it's not like I think till to my 10th fight, I was like that. And it's not because, like, I was training the way I was training, but it's not because I would understand the way I was losing, because the other guys were training more than I did. So, and, you know, the skill level was definitely not the same. So I was fighting guys from, like, Dragon Power who were getting everything and training people in the gym and then train just like we do now. So, like, they were training more than I did. So, you know, hard work always pay off. That's what I believe. So it was a blessing in disguise. And the other thing, my amateur career, I didn't fight bums. You know, I fought the best amateur guys that were around in Cape Town. Like, if you ask guys there, I had 15 fights in as an amateur, but I didn't fight. Nothing was given to me.
Sure.
They never baby me there. I was not like a poster boy type of a guy. You can see I'm not a poster boy looking guy. So, like, they never really, of course, it was like our gym promotions and stuff like that, but I was not a favorite because, like, it's not like, but I know now that why, and it's actually helped me to be where I am today. So, like, I was never the favorite, so I was always getting the harder fights than the other guys. Like, I was in the same gym as Regis Muyambo, if you know him.
Yeah.
I think his amateur career was 23-1, 24-1. If you look at him now professionally, he is struggling, you know. So I was not the guy that was being looked at as a guy that who actually make it. So they had guys that they wanted to be the best and all that. So yeah, but I can't complain about that. It actually made me a better fighter. So I was always being given hard fights, and I was training for the hard fights, and I used to lose some and win some, but my last 3 amateur fights, I won all of them. And my last amateur fight, I fought a guy that was professional before, Jared Halliday. And those are the days Demad Penaford was about to fight Abdul Hassan, and this guy had beaten Abdul Hassan before as a professional. So that tells you all the story. So they never gave me a really easy fight, and this was an amateur fight, and they gave me this guy that was professional before, but that doesn't mean anything because I was working very hard, so I didn't care who I was fighting.
Okay.
And I beat him.
You then, as a pro, went on quite a tear through the EFC. Was that something that changed in you mentally, or is it you've kind of touched on that now? Basically, you put yourself in a situation where you could train more, where your skills could develop better, and you could spend more time focused on MMA. Or was there something inside of you that said, okay, this is for real, this is what I need to do, and I need to get a little bit more serious? Which one was it? Was it more like a mental thing, or was it a little bit of mental and a bit of physical attributes as well?
It was a little bit of mental, more mental though, because, you know, I used to just, I didn't have direction. Sure. I was training and fighting, but because I knew I was never the favorite guy, so I never thought I was gonna, earlier on, I never thought I was gonna make it, you know, to the EFC. EFC would look at my record and think, it's a joke. You know, it was a half record in the beginning. Like when I was like 10 fights, amateur fights, I was 5-5. So if you look at my record and think it was a joke, so like it was kind of sad, you know. Like I didn't have direction. I thought I'll just keep on doing it, and one day maybe I'll fight. I never thought. I thought I would make it to EFC after my 12th fight. But before that, I was just like this guy training to to fight, and never really have direction to be somewhere. I was training. I wanted to it, but in my mind, I was like, I thought I was not going to, because the coaches never thought I could. So like I actually used to rely on people believing in me. Then now, you know, now I believe in myself. I don't rely on people believing in me.
Sure. What was it like when you got the EFC contract? How did you feel emotionally? If you can remember that, it's a little while ago already, I know now. But was it a sense of almost everything that had happened to you up until then had finally become worth it, that you had finally got to where you needed to be?
The way I got the EFC contract is actually very funny if you look at it. Maybe some people, if you ask them, they will tell you. What happened is I didn't fight my first professional fight in EFC. Okay. I fought my first professional fight at Imagine FC. That was Chris Bright's promotion. So I had this tear of 3 fights in a row win at amateur, my last amateur fight. Then it happened that Chris Bright opened a promotion. It was called Imagine FC, and it was looking good and all that. And what happened is I looked on their Facebook, then one of the guys had pulled out. I think it was Sidney Mukhola. I think he was supposed to fight somebody, and the guy had pulled out, and it was a waterweight fight, and I used to walk around 77, so it was not a big problem for me to fight there. Then I messaged Chris Bright. I messaged him on Twitter, I think, if I can remember that. Facebook or Twitter, I can recall that. I messaged him and I said to him, please, can you give me that fight? I will take that fight. I think it was on 2 weeks' notice. I said to him, please, because I was already training hard. So I said to him, please, can you give me that fight to fight Sydney? It was on 2 weeks' notice, I think. I said, please, can you give me the fight? And I don't care about the money. I just want to turn professional.
Sure.
Just give me the fight, and I want to fight that fight. And you know, like my imagination want to stay with Imagine AFC. So he gave me, he replied me, and he was so nice to me. And he replied me, and he said, I will see. I'll talk to the other guy, I think. Then they talk. Then they call my manager, then Anton Keto, then the gym owner that I was training. Then they said to him. Then he said to me, "Okay, cool, we'll go fight." Then we drove to PE and fought. And I actually dislocated my shoulder 1 week before that first fight, that first professional fight. So 1 week before the fight, I was training, and I dislocated my shoulder. It was on a Friday, and I was fighting the following Saturday. So, and you know, because it was a long journey, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity. I made it like there was nothing happened.
Sure.
So I got some Voltaren in, and I don't know if it was allowed, but I did do that, and I got the Voltaren on the Saturday, and I told Anthony. He thought that I was, from my feeling, I don't know, but from my feeling, he thought that I was scared to fight.
Sure.
Because I told him that my shoulder dislocated. So
Yeah.
he thought I was actually scared. I had rumors that people were thinking that I was scared to go and fight. But actually, I just told him, no, my shoulder, I didn't explain to him what really happened. I said to him, my shoulder popped out, but I need just pain injection so that I don't feel it. Then he thought that actually I was
trying to pull out.
I want to pull out, and I want to make a stand. So I went in and fight. I think 7 seconds into the fight, I shot for a takedown on Sydney, and my shoulder dislocated completely out, and it never went back in. And I had to fight first round. I managed to take him down. I don't know how did I do that. I managed with one arm actually. I managed to take him down eventually. And this guy is not like weak guy, you know. Yeah. I managed to take the guy down, and I stayed on top. I stayed on top the whole round, trying to make myself look busy, you know.
Sure.
I was like, maybe I'll win on points. I don't know. I didn't want to give up, so I kept, like I stayed on top of him. Luckily, he didn't know what he was doing on the ground, and yeah, he was a very good striker,
Sure.
but very bad ground. So I knew that if I stayed there, I would beat him. So I stayed on the ground until the round was finished. The ref was keeping on saying to me, "You have to keep busy," and I had to try and make myself busy, even hitting the arm that was dislocated. I was hitting with it so that I don't look like I'm hurt, you know.
Sure.
And I sat in the corner, and my coach saw the shoulder was out, but he can't say it because otherwise they will
Stop the fight.
They will stop the fight. So he tried to hit the shoulder back in under my armpit, and didn't go back in, and I had to go into the second round with the shoulder out again. And unfortunately, Sydney realized that my shoulder was out. Then he was on fire the second round.
Sure.
He knew that my shoulder was out. He had an advantage. So he was on fire. He came for me the second round. My left eye was shut because I couldn't keep my left hand up. He hit me so hard that, my left eye was shut. So I had to work out a plan, you know. I pretended like he hit me. Then I fell on my back. Then he came into my guard.
Sure.
His corner was keeping on telling him, "Don't go into his guard." But you know, when you think that you have hit somebody, you are excited. He got excited and he tried to ground and pound at me. Then I triangled him. Then I finished the fight. And I went to the hospital. I can't remember anything after that. They put my shoulder back. They couldn't put my shoulder back in at the event. They had to take me to the hospital.
Sure.
They put me out. And I woke up 2 o'clock. I'm in the hospital. I'm like, where am I? Did I win my fight? That's all I remember. Then then I messaged Cairo and on Facebook. Then I said to Cairo, listen, I would like to fight in EFC. My professional record is 1-0, and I would like to be the first Zimbabwean. Actually, I wanna be the first Zimbabwean champion, you know. And please, can you take me? Please, can you take me? Even if it's on short notice. Please, can you take me? Then Cairo replied me and said to me, apply on the website or tell your manager to apply for you on the website. Then I think Anthony Anton already had contact, and he said, no, I'll give you this kid. He's good, actually. He can fight. He's got good heart, and he can fight. Then that's how it happened. Then I got my first fight against Joan Lube. I was 1-0, and Joan Lube was this guy who had fought. I actually used to look at him fighting, and I was still an amateur. Fought Dino, I think, when I was still an amateur. So I used to look at this guy like, wow. So they gave me that guy as my first fight, and I think it was fight number 7. Fight number 7 now, it will be like a main card fight.
Sure.
And it's my first fight, you know. I'm 1-0, and I'm fighting the guy that has been fighting in EFC forever. And he was actually on a 3-fight winning streak. I think he had beaten New Diesel. Sorry, I'm saying Rory Diesel.
Yeah.
He had beaten New Diesel, and he had beaten 3 other guys, I think. Some guys he had beaten 3 in a row. So I was the guy he was supposed to be to get to where he wanted to be. That's, I think, the title shot. I think if he had beaten me, he's going to get a title shot, you know. And I was, I think EFC, they saw me and they thought I could beat him too. Then they made a matchup between me and him, and I came in there as an underdog. And I won the fight quickly.
Yeah.
I won the fight very quick. I think first round submission. Yeah, I dominated the fight and won the fight very quickly.
Sure. Hopefully that there's going to be a slightly easier road for you somewhere along the line. It seems like it's,
no, man,
it's tough after tough.
you don't wish for the easy stuff. Like for me, good life, good, man. I love it. But you know,
Sure.
sometimes maybe it will make me complacent one day. But I don't want that type of life. You know, like
Sure.
I've grown up. Like I lost my parents when I was very young. So my mother died when I was 9. My father when I was 13. So it's been always a hard time, a hard road for me. Even when my father was there, it was hard for me because my father used to beat me almost every day. So it was never easy for me. So I like good life comes, it's fine. But you know, I pray to God that He just keep me motivated the way I am and work harder every day.
100%, man. That's a hell of a story, Themba, and I can see a book in there one day. Hopefully, you'll figure that out when you're done fighting, man.
Yeah, I wanna write a book one day.
Absolutely, I'll buy your first copy. But just going forward to where we are now, obviously you've got a very impressive record at the EFC. With ones, you're 7-1 as a professional. Am I right?
I'll be 7-1 on the 9th of September. I'm 6-1 currently.
6-1.
I tracked wins.
Seven fights. Your one loss was to
Leon Maynard.
Leon Maynard, yeah. Which is a tough task for anybody, I guess. At least if you look at a one loss and it's a guy like Leon Maynard, you can be forgiven at that time. And I know you're growing every day. You guys at FFM are always growing, and that's every fight we see a new fighter, which is exciting. So the next one is a main event. The EFC are kind of labeling this as contenders rising. That seems to be the sort of theme. There's no title fight, so it's a card that's begging for someone to put up their hand and be the star of the show. What do you expect on fight night being the main event against the international? Obviously, Dave Mazzani's looking for the abilities. He's looking for some sort of redemption from his loss. Obviously, in your mind, he's not going to find it with you. How do you see the night playing out as a main card feature? Obviously, there's been a couple of people who've been like, Cape Town, there's no title fight, but I think it's a great fight. It's a massive fight. I think it's. I know we said it's at a catch weight, but it has big implications for both of you. I think a win each way has big implications.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand exactly what this is all about, But for me, man, like after losing to Leon, it was a good loss for me. I think personally, I would be honest. Guys get obsessed about the belt.
Sure.
And then they fail, and then it breaks their heart. And I almost committed suicide because of that. Because I thought the world had crashed on me. Because I lost the opportunity that I had, and I had worked so hard for it. And, this was the only shot, and I thought it was the only shot. And, I'm not, like, I start thinking what people think about me and all that stuff. So, for me, I don't get obsessed about the belt anymore. Like, if it comes, it's good for me. But if it doesn't, I don't care. Like, I'll keep winning. My focus is on winning. Whether it's a title fight or not a title fight, it's just about winning. And it's actually a 5-round fight. So it's basically like a title fight.
Sure.
But and it's a main event fight. There's a little bit of pressure, but if you can't handle pressure, you can't be in this position. So it's fine for me. I'm just focusing on winning this fight. Like for other guys that are fighting before me and stuff like that, it's good for them. Like I always wish the best for somebody, but except when you're fighting me. Like you're fighting me, sorry, you have to go down. But for other guys, I always wish them the best. Like it's a contender rising. There's a couple of guys that are very good fighters on that card, and I think it will be a very good show, more than what people are expecting. So like for me, I just wish the other guys the best, except the guy I'm fighting. So like it will be good for the other guys and all that.
Cool.
Yeah.
What is your ultimate goal in MMA? Where do you see yourself if you look back at your career and say, or look forward in your career, say this is where ultimately where I want to be, where I'll be satisfied with my career?
I'll never be satisfied with anything. You always want more. You find you walk out there and you see a billionaire. He wants to be a trillionaire.
Sure.
You walk around there, see a millionaire. He wants to be a billionaire.
Sure.
So, like, if you are a driven person, you will never be satisfied with anything. So, I don't know, man. Like, I'll take it as it comes. But my motivation, is to just win. Like, I would like to win as many fights as I can.
Okay.
And the other thing is I would like to just inspire as many people as I can as well. And I would like to change my life, my personal life, my family life, and the people. I would like to one day go and change somebody's life. And actually, that person will look and say, because of Themba, I'm actually here where I am, That's if I can inspire people, if I can change somebody else's life. Right now I can't. I hope yeah, like one day I can, but right now obviously I can't uh, do that. But if I can do that one day and somebody get to somewhere because of me being the guy who helped him, that would be very good for me. Like that's my motivation. Like I've been helped to be where I am, and I admit that I've been helped, but also through hard work as well. Like it's my hard work and help from other people. I have coaches, I have friends, I have family. You know, like those people help me. I've been helped to be where I am. You understand?
Sure.
So like I would like also to one day, maybe whether it will be in MMA, whether it be in school, in education, and whether it will be just a normal thing. If someone can better their lives by looking at Themba, I would be very happy for that.
Sure.
In my career. Through my career, if I can change somebody's life, I'll be very happy with that.
Fantastic. And just in closing, any last messages for Mr. Dave Mazani?
My message has been always the same. I would like to fight and beat the best Dave Mazani. I don't want him, after I beat him, then he will be like he's saying about Don Make's fight and how I didn't pitch up on the night and stuff like that. And he's trying to take the victory away from Don, you know. Sure. And I don't like those kind of excuses. I lost to Leon, and I never went and say this and that. Actually, it was a blessing in disguise. So I would like to fight the best Dave Mazani, and I hope he brings his best and I beat him. That's all I have. And for the fans in Cape Town, I love you.
100%. Themba, thank you very much for your time, man. We wish you all the best for the last bit of camp. We're getting close. We're a couple of weeks out. And thanks so much for your time, man. And wish you all the best. And we'll see you fight night.
Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate your time, and thank you for having me.
Anytime, man. And go well. And we are out.